Good morning. It's Market Day Report. Let's start another week of trade. We've got a busy week. USDA out with the World Ag Supply Demand Estimates, or WASDE report, 12 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. Now, in front of that, we've actually had some fireworks in the overnight session. More on that in just a moment. First off, the corn market. How did we trade in the overnight? Well, let's go to, we are having a little bit of difficulty bringing up the quotes here for you this morning, but fireworks in the soybeans overnight. And what happened? Well, Brian Hoops is with Midwest Market Solutions. Brian, we thought WASDE would be the focus of today, at least some pre-positioning, but what happened overnight?
Yeah, it's not WASDE, it's not weather, it's tweets from President Trump that is driving force in the overnight markets. We are actually trading lower for several hours before he sent out a post last night. Of course, tomorrow is not only WASDE report day, but it's also the deadline for China and the U.S. to come to some sort of a trade agreement, or tariffs be increased once again from that 15% on U.S. ag products up to 35, maybe even to 50%. On products. So he's tweeting last night that he wants China to buy more U.S. soybeans. That would be because they have a shortage of beans, and this would substantially reduce their deficit. Now, they haven't bought any beans for a couple years, so no matter how much he wants them to buy, I don't know if it's going to happen, but they still haven't fulfilled phase one of their trade agreement either. So the algorithm type trade all saw this tweet and bought beans last night, running us sharply higher. Now we've come back by the morning hours down from those substantially higher levels, but we're still higher overnight and above the $10 mark. And that comes despite good growing conditions, good weather forecasts, and tomorrow's expectations for a slightly bearish supply and demand report. Of course, there'll probably be a little bit more bearish to corn, as we expect yields will be increased more than what they will be in soybeans. Trade expects the USDA to be conservative in their yield estimates for soybeans tomorrow.
I've found an interesting story. This deals with BNSF, but they're significantly reducing their soybean shuttle tariff rates to the U.S.-Mexican border, primarily through El Paso and Eagle Pass. It's down to 27, dropping by $1,000 per car, or 27 cents per bushel. Does that give us the indication that they're ready to ship more beans, maybe south?
Well, I think they're preparing themselves for that possibility. Yes, that we're going to send more beans into the southern region, and they have been buying a little bit more bean purchases. Mexico has than they have in recent years. So they bought a lot more corn. They're our number one buyer of corn. It looks like they're trying to shift into buying soybeans, and they are getting prepared to accept more beans. It certainly looks like.
All right, Brian, hang on just a moment. We'll come back. We'll talk about what was a wild day in the livestock markets on Friday. Market Day Report continues in a moment. Well, we finally saw cash cattle develop and a little bit lighter, 235, 237 in the south and the north, 242, 245, and dress 380 to 385. Fireworks in this market on Friday. Let's go to live cattle futures, which finished the session down $5.50. That's the front month August, 233 and a quarter, with the October down $6.27, 225.95. Now, you think those are some big drops. Look what happened to feeders on Friday. Limit lower. Yeah, that $9.25 is now the limit, or it was the limit on Friday. We now have expanded limits. We're to $18.50 in these contracts. Wow, August 339.40 and a 340 on the September. Let's bring back in Brian Hoops, Midwest Market Solutions. Now, I don't know that I've ever seen a limit in any of these ag commodities of $18.50.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have expanded limits today. I don't expect we're going to test those. In fact, I think conventional wisdom tells you we would open lower and follow through. I don't think we do. I think we open higher this morning. I don't think there's going to be much selling interest coming into the market now. Late on Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, late in the week, we were kind of raising warning flags that this feeder cattle futures have gotten above the index, $10, $11 premium. That's usually bearish. And same thing happened in live cattle. August live cattle futures were above the previous week's cash markets. That's usually not a bullish sign either for continued gains. And we didn't expect we'd see big down move that we saw on Friday, but it just kind of was momentum that built on it, and we went to that limit down status. Now, we've erased a lot of that premium of the index, and with the drop in the futures, we erased a lot of that premium over the cash with August live cattle closing over $6 lower. I think we narrow up that spread between the cash and the futures again this morning, meaning we have to go back to the plus side in August live cattle. So trade was around 235 in the Southern Plains last week. We're discount to that. That should be a little bit supportive. And cutouts really surged higher last week. We were over $17 higher choice. Select was over $12 higher. And that is, pretty friendly when you consider where we have been, and that the slaughter pace was pretty strong last week compared to the prior week. So I don't know. We'll see sharply higher cash trade, but probably closer to steady money. And we'll see if some selling comes into the market after a higher opening this morning.
Okay, and finally here, before I go any further, Brian, we are bringing up the hogs here just to show you how we finished the session on Friday. It was lower, but I've got to give you props because you said, hey, I think we are in store for lower trade here on Friday. And then got a text from you later in the day said, I didn't quite expect that. So props
I
to
don't
you
think
on
anybody
that.
did. Yeah, no one expected that limit down trade, I don't think.
All right, we'll keep an eye on it. Brian Hoops is with Midwest Market Solutions. And don't forget, coming up tomorrow, 12 noon Eastern Time, World Ag Supply Demand Estimates Report, or the WASDE, and we'll have the numbers for you.
Yeah.